Mourners gathered Sunday in a Kiev neighborhood to bury 24-year-old Nadiia Yakymenko Halych and her 2-year-old daughter, Anhelina, killed in a recent Russian missile strike on the capital. According to Associated Press, neighbors, relatives and friends brought flowers and stood beside the two coffins, grieving the young mother and her child. Children came to say their last goodbye too. They were in the corridor near their room, and it hit their room directly. It was impossible to survive there, said Yuliia Semena, a classmate of Nadia's sister. The funeral came amid an intensification of Russia's air assault on Ukraine. On Thursday, a rare airstrike on central Kiev killed 23 and damaged European Union diplomatic offices. The attacks came less than 2 weeks after a presidential summit between Donald Trump of the United States and Vladimir Putin of Russia that marked the end of Putin's diplomatic isolation in the West but yielded few details on how the war might end. Ukraine's European allies have accused Putin of dragging his feet in peace efforts and avoiding serious negotiations while Russian troops move deeper into the country.
Ось два автобуси, хто їде, хто не має приватного транспорту. Я потім побачив звідси.
І в моїй пам'яті вона запам'яталась дуже завжди усміхнена, позитивна дівчинка і людина. Тому в мене тільки теплі спогади про цю дитину, і дуже шкода, що ми губимо таких людей. І дівчинка в неї така гарненька, дуже, тобто тільки добре пам'ятається.
Ось два автобуси, хто їде, хто не має приватного транспорту. Я потім побачив звідси. Потім я...
Вони були на коридорі біля своєї кімнати і прямо прилетіло в їхню кімнату. Там нереально було вижити.
Putin's army carried out its attacks in the area of Besalovka, Yunakovka, Alexeyevka, and Varachino. Analysts from the Institute for the Study of War have voiced the situation in the Sumy region. A Z-blogger associated with the Sever group stated that units of the 1st Battalion of the 237th Airborne Regiment are experiencing very big difficulties in rotation in Yunakovka. They can leave the eastern outskirts of the settlement only through an open field. At the same time, the military command of the 1434th Regiment continues to involve the still combat-ready Company V in attempts to regain control of previously lost positions in the Varachino area. The Russian blogger also stated that the units of the 83rd Airborne Brigade have become ineffective after a minor advance from the eastern side of Varachino. The brigade simply no longer has reserves for a further offensive. The same unit has also been unsuccessfully attacking Ukrainian armed forces positions on the western outskirts of Yunakovka. The source writes that the occupiers from the 51st Airborne Regiment of the Russian Armed Forces are engaged in remote mining and occupying defensive positions in the Sadkov area. Russian troops have suffered a defeat and lost control of several settlements in the Sumy region, said Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Oleksandr Syrsky, recently. In the Sumy region, the enemy has suffered a defeat. Despite deploying a powerful force of elite units, paratroopers, marines, and top motorized rifle formations, they failed to achieve any success over the past 2 months, Syrsky said. He added that Russia's latest attempt to advance near Stepne and Novokostiantynivka ended in complete failure. The invaders were destroyed and pushed back across the state border. We're continuing offensive operations in the area. Realizing the futility of their efforts, the enemy is now redeploying units from Sumy to other fronts, primarily Zaporizhia, Syrsky said. According to him, the situation on the front line is currently very difficult. It is marked by the continuation of Russia's strategic offensive operation. At present, the enemy is regrouping and focusing on 2 main sectors. The first is the Pokrovsk sector, which remains a key priority for the Russians, and now the enemy is transferring its forces from the Sumy sector to the Zaporizhia direction. In other words, this will be the second axis where they plan to launch active offensive operations, he said.